Tony, I'm interested in these seats.
Well, this is true low cost, isn't it?
Yes.
Rather than buy some seats, we took a couple of wheels. These are nose wheels, and made them into seats, which actually everyone loves. And
That's
they're
great.
fairly comfy as well. So
it's a good way to recycle old wheels. So, what I really like about your office is there's this sense of openness about it. I mean, I know sort of cubicles. So could you give me a little bit of an explanation on the psychology and the philosophy behind the open space?
Yeah, the philosophy is, I noticed airlines are very compartmentalized. Pilots are one gang, engineers are one gang, cabin crew, management is in a downtown office. So I wanted everyone to be together. If you look at our KL office and Indonesia office, everyone's together. Then the second concept was, I like transparency, I like openness. I like the staff to know everything. Then there's no secrets. And it's no secret that AirAsia has no unions. There is no need for it. Every staff has my mobile phone number, and everyone can call me if there's an issue, or my partner can read in.
So how many employees do you have?
10,000.
10,000, and you don't have a union?
We have no unions, 0 unions. And in every country we operate, they're entitled freely to start a union. So that's because we're very open, everyone knows everything, there's not much bureaucracy, there's not much hierarchy. I dressed up today for you, otherwise I'd be in jeans and t-shirt. And I know everyone said they had an open door policy, but the door was always closed, right? So I got rid of offices.
And doors.
And doors. And as a joke, they made a door in my cubicle, which actually doesn't function as a door because anyone can walk in anyway. And
do people can actually walk in and they can interrupt you?
Yeah, that's the only downside. That is such an open environment that, you know, I could be meeting a prime minister and my staff would just come in and say,
could you sign this?
Correct.
This check for 100 planes.
But it always kind of works. I rather it that than an inclusive society. So I always say I'd rather have 10,000 brains working for me than just 10. A lot of Asian companies, it's 10 guys who decide everything and the rest are implementers. In AirAsia, everyone makes a difference. Everyone can make a difference.
But your KL office is also works on the same principles, right?
Absolutely.
Open
Absolutely.
office.
Every office
so,
in
but
AirAsia.
how did you get that idea? Where did you
Well, I mean,
stumble
I suppose it came a little bit from the music industry that I was saying that, you know, expression and music comes from freedom. And so that was my culture anyway, that was my upbringing. And when I came over to the airline business, I brought that on.
So you mentioned you have your 10,000 employees and in your office everything is sort of transparent, open, but how do you solve differences, conflicts?
Very direct, very directly.
And how do they express their grievances?
Yeah, well, people come and see me, SMS me, email me. I have baggage boys who do it, I have cabin crew who will email me. But when you have conflicts with management, which happens, when you have guys with big egos, and best way is to pull them into the office and he said this, he said that, and very soon it's solved. Politics and tension is caused by no one confronting the issue, and you create these invisible walls. So I like dealing with things straight on. It causes some problems sometimes, but I'm very direct, I'm very open, I don't want to hide things. But 99% of the time it works. Communication is the best solver. Keeping things in is the start of a cancer. It grows and it grows, and then it's too late to save the relationship. For me, you know, got a problem, let's knock it on the head.
Build and sustain a brand in an industry that is highly competitive and where customer loyalty and image is an important part of the business. What is clear is that his marketing strategies have worked in making his company a globally recognized brand. And a big part of that is due to his leadership that is very much a driver in the success of the company.
In terms of sort of obviously your leadership plays a crucial part in it. You're very hands-on, right? Is this a culture that, say, one day when you decide to retire, can you sustain it?
Well, I mean, you know,
without Tony Fernandes at the helm.
I mean, and that's, And that's a really good question. That's a very important question, because an organization can't be based on one person. Too many Asian leaders stay on for too long. I think a good leader is someone who knows when to go, and when the next person comes on, it gets better in their own style. And I think no one can emulate or should emulate someone. So the CEOs that we have selected, who will be the future leaders and the next generation of regional leaders, have all bought into this culture. So I have no fear that when I disappear into the deepest hills of Bali,
or when you go sailing around the world, like...
Yeah, I don't think I'll do that. Better things to do than sailing around the world.
Okay, let's just pedal back a little bit, because there's a couple of things that you mentioned that's of interest, which is the music business.
Yeah.
How did you move from the music business to the airline business?
I always wanted to own an airline. From the age of 6 years old, I loved the thought of flying.
Most kids want to be a pilot, you know. They don't say, I want to own an airplane, I want to be...
I realized that I wouldn't have the technical ability to be a pilot. A business is a business. Whether you're in planes or whether you're in music, it's maximize the top line, minimize the cost, have a strong balance sheet. At that point, they're similar, and marketing is a very strong element of every business. You have to be able to market well. So making the transition from music to airlines didn't seem that difficult. I felt that a lot of airline business was poor because of poor marketing. And in the record business, you're trained to be good marketeers because you're selling a song every day, not even artists sometimes, and you're competing against millions of songs. So it made you very good at marketing. And people management, I thought we could inject a bit of our music culture into an airline and make it fun. So when I said I'm going to leave the music business, I had a very successful career in the music business to start an airline, 99.9% people thought I had a few marbles loose in my head. And I'm not sure even I thought that. But I come from a philosophy that you only live once. And I'd rather try and fail than not try at all. And I was young enough that if I failed, I can go back into the corporate life. So I made that jump.
And never looked back?
Never looked back. With $250,000, my portion and Kamarudin's portion of $250,000, we started an airline. It is, right now, I bought that apartment for about the same price.
You actually live down the road.
Just that, yeah. As opposed that was the amount of money we invested in AirAsia. It is, on hindsight. And
that was what year?
2001.
2001.
3 days after 9/11.
I was about to say, if I recall, that's the 9/11, and that's also the time when all these airlines went under. Correct. Okay, now the Richard Branson factor, the reason why I asked, because you actually worked for him at one point in your life when you were doing your music business. How much of a leaf did you take out of his book in terms of inspiring you to
he came to me...
Or is it this sense of competition between the two?
No. He came to me and said, I'm going to start an airline. And I said, you're off your rocker. You know, he was sick of British Airways and he wanted to compete with them. But Richard had that entrepreneurial, pioneering, challenge the world spirit, which... you know, has kind of rubbed off on me a little bit. But then I don't have his sense of adventure. I have no interest to go to the moon. There's plenty of things I've got to do in Jakarta that would be much more fun.
Or travel around the world in a hot air balloon.
Yeah, exactly. I'd much rather go to Block M and listen to music and have a beer than be up in 36,000 feet in a balloon. I have no idea why anyone wants to go to the moon. You just see a bit of rock there. So there are plenty of places I want to go here before that. So we're similar in that we love fun. We love people. We love to,
you love Formula One as well.
Yeah, we like to challenge. I think that would be where we are very similar. We like to challenge conventional wisdom. But we're also very different.
Now, what would you say are the sort of the lowest and the highest points of your sort of career? I mean, you started the airline business just 3 days after 9/11, and you had to actually mortgage your house, and you raised $250,000 in order to buy the 2 planes. I mean,
there've been.
You said you don't like to take risks, but that sounds very risky.
Yeah. No, I mean, I am a risk taker. There's no two ways about it. But I try to limit the risk. But in my case, it was a calculated risk. Okay, I lose a bit of money, but
you're not going to die from it.
I'm not going to die from it, and I can go get a job if it fails. It's not like going in a balloon at 36,000 feet or going to the moon. So I've had very few. It's funny, you know. When you're asking the question, I'm thinking, there are not many lows. I mean, there have been many times I've been despondent by people's reaction in the government, or you know, why can't we get certain things? But you know, it's all part of growing up. It took us 7 years to get KL Singapore. I'm the kind of that person that I forget the lows very quickly. I'm sure there are days where I was suicidal. But when you're asking me that question, I can't, not one point comes to me.